guys actually enjoy treating your customers like a piece of shit, because that's how I felt when I went to the Alamo Draft House. Okay? You know what? I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to text in your little crappy-ass theater. It was too f***ing dark in that place for me to find my seat, alright? I was using my phone as a flashlight to get to my f***ing seat. So excuse me for using my phone in USA, United States of America, where you are free to text in a theater. I was not aware that I couldn't text in your theater, all right? I've texted in all the other theaters in Austin, and no one ever gave a fuck about what I was doing on my fucking phone, all right? And it was on silent. It wasn't on loud. It wasn't bothering anybody. You guys obviously were being assholes to me, and I'm sure that's what you do, you know, to rip people off. You take my money, and then you throw me out. You know, I will never be coming back to your Alamo Draft House or whatever. I'd rather go to a regular theater where people are actually polite. And, you know, I'm going to tell everyone about how you are. And I'm pretty sure you guys are being on purpose. So thanks for making me feel like a customer. Thanks for taking my money.
It's chocolate. You should be very proud, Detective.
Shut up!
You've made a delicious life for yourself.
Said shut the fudge up! Why?
You don't come near here. You stay away from here.
Here he comes.
What?
Are you listening, David? I was saying how much I admire you and your ice creams. You have incredible taste in fine ice creams.
What the fudge did you just say?
6 delicious flavors. They're so lovely. And once they're gone, David, they're gone.
David, step away from the prisoner. Step away, David. Step away.
What's in the box?
I'm not gonna tell you until
What's in the box? What's in the box?
We each have our weaknesses. It appears that gluttony is my sin of choice. And you add the mystery. I couldn't resist.
What's in the malted fudging box?
It's empty, David. It's empty.
No! It was full. 6 delicious flavors. Only available this month.
I know. It was delivered to your home. It was delectable.
Do you think anybody's gonna get, like, offended by this?
Just tall white Karens.
Monotony. It comes in all shapes and sizes. Dull, tedious, just plain boring. But what is this? A contender, perhaps? Something unboring by the looks of it. Jabs right at dull, an uppercut to tedium, something that keeps you on your toes, keeps your head on a swivel. A knockout punch to your old, boring workouts. Welcome to Fight Camp.
The Greening the Gateway Cities program provides trees that are planted by DCR foresters and crews hired from local communities. When you sign up as a potential tree recipient, a forester will visit your home or business to determine the best location and species of tree for maximum energy efficiency. Easy care instructions are provided, and it's all free. Find out if you are in the zone and learn more at maurbancanopy.org.
we're honest, who wants to road less traveled? It's harder to teach us. Who wants the difficult route?
If you support safety in our schools, you will support the National Guard to come in here and keep our students safe.
People say, these students have changed. These students are lazy.
Your children aren't learning disability, they lazy.
Get students engaged so they don't want to skip class, so they want to be in their classrooms.
There are teachers in this profession who should not be teachers. There are teachers in this profession who don't care about children.
These students don't want to learn. No, the adults have changed. See, the parents don't have the back of the teachers.
He ain't slow. He ain't got no learning problem. His parents didn't give him a foundation.
Young people as a nation, we sorely need the depth and breadth of your intelligence, character, and also your clarity.
I think about, in particular, the history of people that look like me who are getting cheated.
So if you're asking me right now as an educator, what's wrong with these kids? There's nothing wrong with them.
Teachers are the most important people in the world.
They're whimpering in fear, and we're sitting here scared of them.
Because if they get it right, they'll change the world because they're in charge of the most important resource, and that's our children.
Shaolin shadowboxing and the Wu-Tang sword style. If what you say is true, the Shaolin and the Wu-Tang could be dangerous. Do you think your Wu-Tang sword can defeat me?
On guard. I'll let you try my Wu-Tang style.
Same with you. Same with you.
Get you with a fine-tooth comb. I was soft inside. There was something going on.
Shaolin shadowboxing.
Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown. I set out to get you with a fine-tooth comb. I was soft inside. There was something going on.
Oscar Mike Radio is a proud podcast partner of Reach Across America Radio, heard every Thursday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. They're also big supporters of the nonprofit I Got Your Six, Two Lives at Once. And with every wreath you sponsor through Oscar Mike Radio, $5 goes back to this great organization dedicated to making a difference in the lives of veterans, law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders battling PTSD. Two Lives at Once pairs these brave men and women together with dogs rescued from kill shelters. In this way, two lives are saved at the same time by saving each other. Donate now. Go to reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio to help. That's reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio.
Master Yoda I am. And listen you must to HulaZoom.com.
Welcome back to the show. Well, for days now, 9 correspondent Lauren Tomasi has reported on the chaos in LA. Yesterday, an officer turned on her.
You just shut the
So if you slow the footage down, you can see the officer aim his weapon, pulling the trigger while Lauren had her back to him.
You just shut the You okay?
She has her back to him. She has a microphone and is standing in front of a camera. We don't know what was near her. We don't know what threat was so imminent it required a cop to discharge his weapon on a reporter, or whether he meant to shoot her. But it sure looks like that to me. The incident was maybe one of three things. A moment where an LA officer so thought his life was in danger, he needed to discharge his weapon. An incompetent warning shot, or the act of a coward. Either way, it needs to be properly investigated. I've had the privilege of working with Australian media overseas, and our correspondents are amongst the best globally because they are courageous and don't pick a side. They report complex, sometimes dangerous issues and take viewers at home to the front lines of the story. Lauren is a hard-working, tenacious reporter who is always determined to be fair and balanced. She's also the best of us. You will not meet a kinder person. I get that it's dangerous to cops too. What's happened to them in the line of duty and the position they are in is horrendous. But how is it okay for your police force to be firing at unarmed Australian journalists?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yeah.
Can you dig it?
You like some motherfucking action heroes in it.
This is blasphemy. This is madness. This is a boom.
Step into the
twisted mind in my literature designed to get into the depths of your mind. Administer sickness around to mimic the likes of snuff cinema. What you must get into, you're nothing but pups. Remember you Homer and Happy Simpson, son. Nothing Ithaca. Dark is like the northern half of Korea's peninsula. ESP your island like the booth, something sinister. ESP your island like the booth, something sinister. ESP your island like the booth, something sinister.
All right, it's your boy Citizen One broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are watching The Booth. It is June 10th, 2025. I am awaiting the arrival of my guest to come on the show here. Get into my sponsors. I got to thank everybody for tuned in last week. Actually, the week before last. First Tuesdays, Kenneth Diesenhof, Robert Resnick of The Corridor were on, and we had a great show. Great time, a lot of stuff to talk about, and then America blew up in everybody's faces, and I'll be getting into that later in the show. But let me get into my sponsors and supporters. Michael Douglas Barreto, MDB Electronics, is the guy where I send my controller to get fixed if I have any issues. I send it out to MDB Electronics, my Xbox One controller, and get it fixed back into usually 24, 40 hours. I'm back to gaming, as you guys see here. Today, Xbox controller, has all these buttons, PlayStation, all these buttons. Back in the day when gaming was just in its infant stages, all you had was one joystick and one button. That was it, and you got shit done. You on the Atari 2600 with one stick and one button. Trust and believe me, you got shit done. We got shit done. Also music available now. Deanna Marie, It's Personal, new project she's working on, Blacklisted. She will be performing this weekend at the Juneteenth celebration at the Brockton Fairgrounds. Sometime between 12 and 2 she'll be performing, because I actually have a private event that I'm DJing for Mark Chapetta's boys in Middleborough. So that's happening. I got to thank everybody who showed out for the private event that I did over this past weekend. I did a 50th anniversary party for Barbara and Martin Gratz, 50 years of marriage. That was at the Easton VFW. Rock the house, bro. Rock the house. Had people in the bar area, outside the event area, dancing. So I guess we did good. I guess Sinister One Productions did good. Tactical target systems, those are the zombie targets that you see me at the range with. Actually, I was able to take some time yesterday. Went down to the new range with my son Terrell. We got in some practice target shooting, some 9mm shooting, and he has a Mauser 22 long rifle that we tested out, checked out. Had some fun with that. So tactical target systems, those are the zombie targets. Reach out to Don Robertson or call 913-333-8619. And I Love Boston Sports. Marlon Williams, those are the shirts. Yeah, I know the Celtics are not in the playoffs. Championship finals. I know that the Bruins didn't make it to the Stanley Cup finals. But he does have Red Sox gear, and we've got Patriots stuff that's coming out with some of the new players and things of that sort. So I love BostonSports.com. Make sure to go down and check out his stores, check out the website. Make sure you pick up a t-shirt. Let them know you saw it on Sinister One's The Booth. Kimberly Ann Empowerment Photography. Ladies, if you want to take some pictures that you never thought that you would feel comfortable or feel like you could ever take these type of photos, reach out to Kimberly Ann Empowerment Photography. She'll put you in this comfortable environment where you can take these pictures that you would never thought you could take and surprise a loved one or someone, or just keep them for yourself. But Kimberly Ann Empowerment Photography. Also, Underwatch Protective Services doing big things. They just added an ATV to cover grounds, outside of the city area and stuff. So they're out in the rural areas, country areas. Mobile patrol, foot patrol, armed guards, unarmed guards, event security, private security. I gotta get Daryl on this show to just talk about his business. I gotta set that up and get that in my reminder right now. Underwatch Protective Services. Also, call my man Larry, Handyman Services, 774-826-6549. That's Larry, Handyman Services. If you need done around the house, little projects to get done, reach out to Larry and set up a visit from him. And let's get into the news booth. In the news booth, man still isn't caught yet. Davinci Leonard. Let's go. We had someone arrested last week, and I mentioned it on the show. It was a gentleman who housed Leonard after the show. That gentleman is actually being held without bail. And we talked about this on the show. The attorneys were on last week. Actually, Ken wasn't on last week. Ken didn't make it. It was just me and R Squared last week. R Squared, you know, we had been talking about this since this cowardly shooting happened. That if you're homing this guy or housing this guy or hiding this guy out, you can catch a charge. And this is exactly what happened. The word got through the grapevine. Police with the Quincy arrested this individual, brought him to Brockton. Being held, no bail. He's in jail. No bail. So anybody out there, they're coming. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. And let me see here. Let me keep checking my show, make sure he's not in the waiting to come. Get into the second topic here. Second topic in the news booth. We've had 15 consecutive Saturdays of rain. 15. This has been an ongoing thing year after year, almost after year. I think it's like 3 years straight now. We've kind of had this thing where we've had rain every Saturday. Last year we had rain every Saturday all the way up until my ride, my charity ride. And we actually had a tornado. The Saturday that originally was supposed to happen, we actually put it off a week. And that Saturday, a tornado came through Boston and it poured. It hailed, it poured, and everything. Last Saturday, I was getting to the event. The day was beautiful. All day Saturday was beautiful until about 3 o'clock, 3:30, because I was getting to the venue to set up for this event, and the skies opened up. I mean, opened up. You know, where you're worried about bringing your DJ equipment in. You know what I'm saying? You had to wait till it died down. But looking at the 7-day forecast right now, it looks like there's a possibility that once again we may have some rain. Hopefully it's just some morning showers and it clears up and we can have a nice Saturday. But it looks like we may have rain for the 16th Saturday in a row. That's crazy. 16th Saturday. And you know what that does? When you look at the middle of the week right there. Thursday, 84, warm, sunny. You know what that day is for some people? That's either a work from home day. That's gonna be I'm not feeling too good day. Cause some of y'all play golf and the course is, 16 Saturdays in a row, and that Saturdays is usually if you're a golfer and Saturday's usually your golf day, and you've had 16 Saturdays in a row, trust and believe me, I'm pretty sure someone out there that plays golf has already used up the sick day on this one. I'm pretty damn sure of it. I'm pretty damn sure of it because I know people are pissed at all this rain that we've been having. It's been so crazy. What's going on, Dave Haggerty? I see you in the chat, Dave. Dave is sitting in the chat watching the show. Good stuff. But yeah, if we have rain for the 16th Saturday in a row, I'm going to be so upset. I'm being so upset because the slingshot really hasn't gone anywhere. I actually blew off Maggie Valley this year, and everybody was kind of saying that Maggie, it rained like 3, maybe 4 out of the 7 days there this year. So I picked kind of a good week to not go to Maggie Valley. So hopefully next year when I decide to go, look at that. And we're heading back down into the 50s, people. That's the other part. We're in June. Why do we have 50s? I don't get it. Also, in the entertainment booth, rest in peace, Sly Stone, R&B, rock music, because he kind of rock music too. Legend. Sly Stallone is a pioneer in that funk generation. You had George Clinton. It's funny because this was back in the day when you had like 18 people on stage. Yeah, like 18. You know what I'm saying? This is when people played music. You had your drummer, your bass guitarist, your rhythm guitarist, you had your lead guitarist, you had your tambourine person, you had your 3 female backup singers. You might have even threw in the cowbell person. Sly Stone was one of them groups. Sly Stone was one of them groups when they came on like Laughing or Midnight Special or one of these when Sly Stone showed up on one of these shows. It was a whole festivity. You went on tour as a whole group, a whole mantra of people in the band. Back in them days, in them 70s, it was deep, but some great music, great timeless music. That there's some music as a DJ that you can drop. Dance to the music. Dance to music. There's just some stuff that's just, it's timeless. And the funny thing is you see a revival of some of this music. You'll see a revival of some of this music on TikTok. Like TikTok has been real instrumental in reviving old music and making it popular. We've seen this over the last 9-10 years since TikTok has become very popular, where we've seen music from like the 60s or the 70s pop back up into the top 10 because these kids really don't know what they listen to. They hear a song and then it catches. Fleetwood Mac had a song. It was a kid riding a skateboard, and the Fleetwood Mac song was accompanying his TikTok, and boom, that Fleetwood Mac song, it blew up. It ended up back on the charts. Another artist, I can't remember who it was, they also had a song pop up on TikTok, and it blew back up, and it was back in the top 5. Prince had some music after his passing that was used in some videos and right back. So it's crazy how some of these old music can come back around and make the States money. Great stuff. It's great to see. So, Sly Stone dead in my mind keeps Sly Stone. Sly Stone at 82. Rest in peace. And if you haven't, if you're younger and you've never really listened to Sly Stone's music, go check out his music. A lot of that music has been used in some of the samples that you hear today. Great timeless music. As performances, check it out. It's all out there. It's all on YouTube. Some of the most craziest performances out there. This guy was just a legend. Rest in peace to Sly Stone. Let's get into the sports booth. In the sports booth this weekend, Father's Day weekend, at the Cross Insurance Arena in Portland, Maine, is the Portland Pro-Am Show War Wagon. This is a boxing event takes place. Looks like that they have this Father's Day boxing event every Father's Day. So I got to thank Tiffany for that to me. I mentioned that. Get a chance to head on out there and boxing match. I'm actually DJing on Father's Day. I'm DJing a graduation on Sunday. So this whole weekend's kind of it's a wrap. It's a wrap for me. This time of year is weird. It's like that because, you know, people reach out to you like, oh, I got a graduation. Oh, I got a graduation. June is like a ton of graduation. Summer birthdays, sometimes for for June, but majority for DJs, it's the graduations. This time of year, it's graduations. Then getting later, it becomes weddings and things of that sort. I'm blessed, blessed to be out there weekend long. So, oh man, I actually reached out to R Squared, and I wanted to try to get R Squared on to talk about the use of military. I wanted to have him on because he knows what he's talking about. He knows the ins and outs of what is wrong here and why this is such a big deal and why cities and towns and everybody's filing lawsuits. I saw several attorney offices put posts out on Facebook telling members of the National Guard, telling them, if you're asked to do something you're not supposed to do, they're already ready to go with a class action suit to represent National Guardsmen and Marines if they're punished for not breaking the Constitution. So this is real serious stuff here. Real serious stuff. We're going to get into that. We get into the legal booth and Trump booth. But right now, let me see. Actually, we're going to get into the legal booth. In the legal booth, Mayor Wu. Mayor Wu had a piece of advice for Tom Homan after seeing what has gone down in L.A. And Mayor Wu said that he should have used more tact. Shouldn't have been so overbearing. So we've seen it. We've seen how Homan came in here. Before Homan was appointed, he was at the rally. He was at the Republican rally. He was at the GOP rally. He spoke the night that he got the nomination. So, this was a guy who, when they claimed that there was no such thing as Project 2025, this guy was involved with part of writing that 2025, and now he ICE. And as we talked about on this show last week, the weird hypocritical thing about this whole thing that's going on right now between Homan and Mayor Wu. They, for 4 years before Trump even got into office, and they weaponized this whole immigration thing, because that's what they did. They weaponized the topic of immigration to win an election. They had a nice bipartisan bill that was agreed upon by Republicans and Democrats that should have passed through the House. But the MAGA supporters and Trump, they bullied people. That bill died. That bill would have hired more judges and more employees to help fix and speed up this antiquated system and process of becoming a legal citizen. That's where this problem has been. And this problem has been there like before Bush. People act like this is new. This isn't new. We've talked about immigration issues on this show when nobody was talking about it. Ken's an immigration attorney. We talked about it for many, many years. So we talked about this antiquated system blow up. And we had hoped that this would have been done with this bipartisan bill. It would have given some help. But they didn't. That bill was killed. Here we are today, where immigration issues now being a weapon, and now it's blown up into what we see today. And the funny, weird, hypocritical thing is that Tom Homan, whose job was on the line because the numbers weren't up there with what the Biden administration, they claimed it was going to be gang-related people, criminals and such sort. But guess what? The numbers were down. Numbers were not cutting it, and we're spending all of this money and utilizing military to deport people. But the numbers weren't supporting the costs. Homan was pretty much on his way out. And what does Homan do? Homan goes and he grabs Todd Lyons. Well, for those who didn't know who Todd Lyons was, Todd Lyons is the guy who led the ICE unit here in Massachusetts. So how hypocritical is that? See where the MAGA hypocrisy comes in? You beat Massachusetts up. You beat Governor Healy up. You beat Mayor Wu up for years on this campaign heading into the presidency. You beat Massachusetts to the point where you had Governor Abbott and in Florida, DeSantis, sending illegal aliens here in the middle of the night in buses illegally. We talked about on this show that, R Squared said that they could have held them accountable for human trafficking. And here we are, we're pulling Todd Lyons from Massachusetts to help Tom Homan get his numbers up. And yet again, MAGA doesn't understand, and they don't get the hypocrisy of ICE, Washington, pulling the guy from Boston to be the lead of ICE. You bashed Boston heading into this presidency. You bashed Boston after getting into the presidency. And out of 49 states, you choose the Boston ICE guy as the best guy to help. That's hypocrisy. That's a huge political contradiction that not one person has brought up other than I think myself on this show. And I haven't seen anybody else bring up that hypocrisy. I would love to bring that. If I ever had to interview him, I would ask him that. I would ask him that right to his face. Because he spoke down on Massachusetts. Spoke crap about Wu. He spoke crap about Healy. And pull this guy from Massachusetts, give your ass your job and your numbers. Oh yeah, I'm asking that question. I'm asking that question if I have a chance. Definitely, most definitely, it's coming. It's coming. So I give her credit. I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like Mayor Wu, but my opinion of her in handling this, she's been dead on. She ain't backing down. Homan is going around. He's trying to throw these scare tactics at all these mayors, and a lot of these mayors are like, they ain't having it. And I think Mayor Wu inspired other mayors to follow the same path as we've seen with Gavin Newsom, California. Gavin pretty much came out and he was like, okay, tough guy. Called him, like right in the press conference. Okay, tough guy. And, there are some people who told Gavin Newsom you shouldn't have really stirred the pot. But to be honest, with what's going on in this country right now, where the Democrats don't have the majority and it's tough for them to really do anything other than to try to get common sense Republicans to flip on a lot of these bills and votes, which is what's happening. He's getting his ass kicked. I mean, his big, beautiful bill only passed by one vote. And now, as it heads to the Senate floor, he's losing votes. He lost Musk. Musk is talking crap about the bill. MTG has flipped now because she's claiming that there is AI stuff in this bill that she doesn't agree with. So she's looking to get some changes made, or she's not going to support the bill. If MTG doesn't support this bill, that's the one. There's your one vote right there. There's your one vote flipped, and now it's deadlocked. Now that bill is deadlocked in that point of vote. So, you know, it only takes one more, or it takes one GOP member to stay home and not vote and not have that vote count, and that gives the Democrats that majority. Other than that, the Democrats, all they can do is woo people to come over to the other side. That's all they really can do. Other than that, to be honest, Democrats kind of need to do what Gavin Newsom and what Mayor Wu are doing. They need to stand up for their their constituents, their states, their cities. They need to stand up and be very, very vocal about what they say. And we're seeing that. We're seeing mayors and governors be very vocal. And I think you're going to see a lot more become vocal, because what's going on in California, I don't agree with protesting. I've always hated protesting like this. When the LA riots happened, I felt like, man, damn, why do we have to tear up our own shit to get a point across? I mean, this goes back to Watts riots. This goes back to it's been a part of America when people get so angry. Vietnam protest, you know what I'm saying? We get so mad, so upset, and it comes down to this. This is what happens. This is what's happening, and I think with Mayor Wu stepping up and now Governor Newsom stepping up, I think they're inspiring some of these other governors and mayors to really open their eyes. This could what these two are going through, any other mayor or governor could go through. And when your president bypasses your governor and mayor, like he's done 3 times now in California, 3 times he's now bypassed the state government, 3 tiers of state government. No, just bypassed the governor and the mayors in California by sending in military and National Guard, Marine National Guard, into LA without approval of Congress. Violated there. And then he violated when he released the water. Remember that? He came in after the wildfires was done and all this stuff, and just kind of show and prove he released that water, which hopefully we don't see an issue in California this year with summer coming back around. Hopefully we don't see an issue with wildfires and the lack of water. But I mean, they've gotten as much rain as we've gotten. They're not going to have much of an issue. Water would have built back up there. But we'll see. We'll see. Thank you guys for being in the chat. If you have some thoughts on this, bypassing the authority of governors and mayors is it's a slippery, dangerous slope. And I see a lot of people on social media, audience say, well, he's the president, he can do what he wants to do. No, he can't. No. This is what pissed me off. I just got into it with somebody last night, Joey Beck. He's on the page, he's a producer, rapper, and he's on there, and everything's going on, and it's like, dude, you forgot what's going on. You forgot what you learned in the 5th grade, bro. It's 3 tiers of government. 3 tiers of government that has to be followed. And you know what I do? What I started doing now with these people, I just start sending them the links to Schoolhouse Rock on YouTube. And I send them the Constitution song, I'm Only a Bill song, the preamble to Constitution song. I send them the No King song. Y'all remember the No King song about the British coming to Massachusetts and how we revolted? Y'all remember that song from Schoolhouse Rock? I sent them that. I send them all that stuff we listened to when we was in the 5th grade that we learned about. Some of you MAGA peeps, y'all forget what we learned about our Constitution and due process. It's just crazy. It's insane. It's insane. What else do we have in the legal booth? Also in the legal booth, Pam Bondi's brother, Brad. Pam Bondi's brother, Brad, was running to lead the American Bar Association. And as you know, he's a big MAGA guy, MAGA supporter. And as you all know, the American Bar Association has released, I think the first one came from the ABA when Justice Roberts went against Trump. And he had the first, I think it was the first time he addressed the nation. And it was an awkward moment because it was that week that Justice Roberts had went against Trump on a big issue. And they had that moment where Trump comes out and he has to shake hands with everybody in SCOTUS. And, you know, he'd already lost Amy Coney Barrett. He walked by her. She didn't even offer her hand. She didn't even look at him. Went by. So we knew during that he had lost. He had been lost, Amy. He lost everybody else. And he really, prior to that, he had Roberts, he had Alito, and he had Clarence Thomas. Gorsuch was kind of on the fence. But it was at this moment you realized that Justice Roberts was no longer that Trump guy. That's when we realized it. And it was shortly afterwards Trump realized. And Trump himself made some comments about Justice Roberts on Truth Social and stuff during the press conference. And of course the ABA released a statement that we showed here on this show. ABA became vocal. American Bar Association represents lawyers across the nation and judges, because a lot of your judges started out as lawyers. And the ABA put out this statement, about the Constitution and protecting the Constitution and not to feel threatened. Pretty much the ABA was putting a thing out there that kind of letting Justice Roberts know we got your back from here on out. And we got anyone's back who protects the Constitution at the end of the day. That was huge. It was a huge thing for the ABA to say this. Now, Pam Bondi's brother, he was trying to take this lead of the Washington ABA. Lost. This man didn't just lose. Look. Midterms are next year. And the only way the Democrats could get back in this game, they need to kick ass in the midterm. They need to kick ass in the midterm. If they don't kick ass in the midterm, everything is lost. Everything is lost. But they need to. And what we're seeing right now is we're seeing what could be coming in 2026 for people are fed up. People are fed up. Texas just had an election for a seat for governor. I think it was governor in Texas. Oh no, it was a mayor. It was a mayor race in Texas, and the Air Force pilot, Latino, she won by like percent of the vote. Let me look it up because I think I have the picture. I want to give you guys false information here. Give you the right. Gina Ortiz Jones. She was a Air Force veteran. She beat Rolando Pablos, who was the Republican guy running for San Antonio mayor. She defeated him 54.3 to 45.7 of the votes. That's a big one. San Antonio, Texas, a red state, and Gina Ortiz Jones takes that election for mayor. So what you could be seeing here is this could be the backlash of against MAGA. And as I just said, Brad Bondi, who was running to take over the DCABA. He lost to Lauren Tomasi. I mean, no, not Lauren Tomasi. Lauren Tomasi is the reporter who got shot by the rubber bullet that I was showing earlier. Trying to think the lady's name. I can't remember. But he lost the election. Y'all in the chat, take a kind of guess of what he lost by. The final. This is crazy. This is real crazy. This man lost. He got 9.1% of the. Hear me out. This is a MAGA guy. Straight up MAGA. Pam Bondi's relative, brother. Brad Bondi. Huge MAGA guy. 9%. 9.1. His opponent won this vote by 90.8%. 90.8%. I feel bad for that dude. Like, man, 90 point. That's Margaret. What's up? I see you in the chat. That is insane. And it speaks volumes to how mad people are right now. Because right now, we have a lot of, and I'm just going to say it, we have a lot of fuck around and find outs. We're seeing it. I just saw a guy on Friday from Massachusetts. He is a real estate attorney, and his wife is a immigration attorney. And they went to a family event in Canada. They were coming back, and he got held at the Canadian border, and they got held and detained for 5 hours. And he finally got released. He's got his real ID, all this stuff, but he come back here, and the first people he called was Fox TV here, and they put him on TV, and he's all mad. I'm watching, and I'm feeling kind of sorry for him. I'm like, damn, bro, you went up to see family, and you tried to come back home, and you got held at the border for 5 hours because of this. I'm like, damn, man. And then you know what this dude drops? While he's going through this whole rant, I thought Trump was going to change everything. That's why I voted for him. Oh, use a fuck around and find out. Hashtag another fuck around and find out. You done voted for, and we're seeing a lot of these. It's not just one or two little bit of people. It's a lot of people that are finding out. So now this guy was mad. His wife's an immigration attorney. She was talking about how this is unfair and unjust and how they're going too far. We warned people. We talked about this on this show. We told people that Project 2025 was real. I got a lot of people on my page. Accusing me of this. And I'm like, bro, I watch C-SPAN. I don't sit here and watch MSNBC and all these other things. I watch C-SPAN. And I tell everybody. I told someone the other day, I said, watch C-SPAN. Oh, they can put this. I said, no, they can't. I said, you know what C-SPAN is? And they were like, yeah, it's I said, no. I said, watch C-SPAN. C-SPAN is the House and the Senate and the Overways committees all live as they happen. These are the meetings and the elections and the votes as they go down in the House and Senate. And before votes go down or before bills are brought forth, people get to speak on it. Senators and people get to speak on this. Representative state reps get to speak on it. And this is when the dirt comes out. This is when people get called out. This is when people get made to look. This is where I became a fan of Jasmine Crockett, who's trying to become the head of the Oversight Committee. She was the one that was calling out all the Doge stuff that I had been reporting on this show. She was calling this all out. She was pulling figures and numbers and stuff right from it. When they got hacked, when Doge was hacked, and that people was like, Keith, you're lying, bro. People was on my page like, Doge didn't get hacked. I'm like, yes, it did. They got hacked. I just saw Jasmine Crockett, and they talked about this on the Senate floor about how Doge just got hacked. And it was a Cloudfire access, which is the lowest of lows, the dumbest of dumb hackers. It wasn't even encrypted. And I'm like, I watch C-SPAN. This is where all the stuff comes down. This is where people get called out. And right now, C-SPAN has been crazy. C-SPAN has been crazy, people. If you're watching, you need to watch C-SPAN. Whenever you hear that there's a vote coming up or a bill to be passed, that big beautiful bill was actually done. It was like 12:30 in the morning when they were on. And it was crazy because a lot of people was like, oh damn, this is happening now. And it was great to watch because a lot of the Republicans, remember I told you about the swing vote. The swing vote is like 4 to 5 votes that can kill, and that's what's been happening. The votes have been getting killed. This one went through by one vote. And they did this late at night while everybody slept because they knew they weren't going to have everybody show up to vote. So that's a no count. They knew this, and the vote passed by one vote. And I remember seeing one of the GOP members who voted against it. He was like, "Y'all, there's a reason why y'all did this at 12:30 at night. There's a reason for it. No bill is good if you have to bring it in here at 12:30 at night and secure the vote on it." And he was one of these Republican guys. He was like, I'm not voting for this. You know? So now this same bill, it passed by one vote. And I saw everybody in MAGA talking about he won, he got the big one vote, people. One vote. It's still got one more step. And it can be killed. Like I said, Musk splitting away is making people think. Marjorie Taylor Greene has already said she's not supporting the bill if the AI stuff stays in this bill that she didn't see. She claims she didn't see it the first. She's claiming that was added in after. And if that's the case, if it was added after, then guess what, people? What Trump said that he was going to change about government, he didn't change. Because this is the stuff that does go on. Bills get done, they get passed, and when they get passed, one step, now they go back and sneak shit in. And then expect no one to look at it or look it over to see what they snuck in. As a friend of mine calls it, the pork. He calls it the pork of the fat of the meat. A friend of mine calls it. That's exactly what it is. They sneak in the fat. This is what happens. So, it's interesting. Like I said, watch C-SPAN. Come up on C-SPAN. I swear by it. I actually went to see my dad on his birthday, and my dad watches a lot of news. And I told him the same thing. I'm like, Dad, check out C-SPAN. C-SPAN was one of them stations that you just went by. You just went by. You saw the vote, yeas and the nays up there. You saw the results of the bills, and you went by it. You went by it. You didn't watch. C-SPAN's been out there forever. Forever. Ever. It's been out there probably as long as CNN. And it's become probably one of the most entertaining, real-time reality television for me. I'm just saying. I love politics. I love law. I love it. And to see the stuff that goes on the House and Senate floors is just, it's insane. It's insane. And guess what, people? One of the things about watching C-SPAN, you learn which states are up to what. You learn who state reps are putting in the time and the business. You learn who's for real. I watched 2 weeks ago. Our representative here, Congressman Stephen Lynch, he spoke. And Stephen Lynch wasn't having it. Stephen Lynch was Stephen Lynch was out of control. He was pissed. He was so pissed. And he let them have it. If you haven't seen it, and you can go on C-SPAN. C-SPAN has a YouTube page. You can go on C-SPAN and look it up and see all of these things. And C-SPAN actually, when they have these beefs and these arguments and stuff, C-SPAN actually picks the moments out and puts them on the videos in YouTube, these clashes. They put it on there because you need to know. You need to know these clashes. Because these clashes are things that affect your life. So again, in other news, Pam Bondi's brother Brad loses 90.8 was the majority vote. He had 9.1%. Tried to take over the American Bar Association. That shit's comical, bro. I'm dying. I'm dying on it. I'm laughing my ass off. Also, President Trump, he came out and he released this video. POTUS, Instagram, and the White House released this video. Kind of a weird video. I'm gonna play it for you guys. It's a weird video. I watched it and the first thing I said was, that's not Trump. I don't know what y'all trying to pull over on us. That's AI. This is AI created. This is not real. This is an AI video, and there's some things that I can point out where, to me, it's AI. It's not a real video from Donald Trump, President. He doesn't even, when you watch this video, he doesn't even mention who the hell he's talking about. It's just like this random message. The only other point I was saying to myself is, well, is this a dog whistle? Is this like a dog whistle message to a certain base for them to get ready? Is this a dog whistle? I don't know. One thing I do, I'm like 95% sure this is AI created. This was not President Trump sitting in the Oval Office being filmed. I'm sorry. I want to see this. I hope this topic, since the release of this afternoon, I'm hoping this topic takes off. I hope they're questioned on it. I hope Snopes or somebody comes out with it. I think this is fake. Let's see.
My fellow Americans, how exciting this is. Congratulations. Today you receive one of the most priceless gifts ever granted by human hands. You become a citizen of the United States of America. What an honor. It is with great pride and wisdom in so many different ways, because you have such great wisdom, that I welcome you into our national family. No matter where you come from, you now share a home and a heritage with some of the most exceptional heroes, legends, and patriots to ever walk the face of the earth. All of the triumphs and glories of American history now belong to you. You have it in your being. You have it like nobody's had it before. With this sacred honor comes the highest responsibility. As you know, the American way of life is unique in all the world, and as Americans, we must fiercely guard it and defend it. In this country, we believe in hard work and merit system and equality of opportunity. We believe in self-government and the fair and equal and impartial rule of law. And we cherish our liberty and our God-given rights to free speech, free exercise of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. This special American culture is now yours to preserve. Your freedoms are now yours to protect. Our entire nation is now yours to love and to help build. And we trust that you will do a fantastic job and make us very, very proud. Congratulations once again. God bless you, and God bless America.
So what are your thoughts, people? What are your thoughts? I've got people on my I got my thing. This is a topic we're gonna actually get into. I see Sean Wick, Rapper, and Rick Pease going at it on my page. And no, Rick, I'm sorry, Rick, but you're wrong. On this one, I'm gonna be getting into the topic in a second. Tell me your thoughts, people. I think this is AI. I think it screams AI to me. That does not look real. I'm sorry. That screams AI to me. Tell me your thoughts. I'm like 90% sure that this was created by AI and they put this out. And he doesn't even address who he's talking about. Like you're watching this and you're officially a U.S. citizen. Congratulations, fellow American. Who? What? Who are you talking about? Are you talking about the white Afrikaners you brought here from South Africa? Is that what you're talking about? Who the hell are you talking about? You're not addressing anybody. Or is this a bell whistle? You know, when these dog whistles? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. In the Trump troubles. Actually, that was the actually first topic of Trump trouble. RFK Jr. fires. RFK Jr. fires the entire CDC vaccine advisory panel. This is a group of people who look over diseases and things worldwide and make decisions on the vaccines created to battle these things like Ebola, COVID, some of the most scariest, worst diseases that we don't even get here because they're stopped before they get here. Years ago, I watched a thing about Ebola in Africa on Nova, on PBS, and it scared the ever-living hell out of me. I mean, I was petrified of Ebola when I watched it on PBS on Nova. Like, how fast it spread, because people in Africa, when Ebola hit, their tradition was to have the wake and funeral. What we have here in the place, they had wakes and funerals in their houses. And it was custom for people to kiss or touch the dead before they send them on their way. The problem is people were dying from this Ebola, and when they were having these wakes and funerals and people were kissing, the Ebola was spreading. And it got to the point where people weren't telling when people were dying, and they were keeping the people dead in their huts. And oh my God, it was the most terrifying, most scariest show I ever watched in my life. I was so petrified of Ebola, and they were showing like people where the people were dead in the huts from Ebola, and these people from the CDC had went there, and what they had to do was if they knew that the people all died in that hut with Ebola, they had to dig a trench, and then they filled that trench with bleach, and you had to step into the bleach to kill the Ebola on your shoes, and then they had to set the huts on fire with oh my God. If I sound like I got PTSD from watching that episode, oh man, that shit, yo, you ever watch something and have it stay with you? Oh man, yo, that's when I realized what the CDC was all about, was that episode of Nova and the Ebola virus. I was petrified. So I know how deep the CDC gets and what they do and where they go. That's why I donate to Oxfam. That's why I donate monthly to Oxfam. My little $7 I donate to help out. So this man RFK, who's a nutbag psycho, he fired the entire CDC vaccine advisory panel, and he's going to handpick and place his own people as the advisory panel of this. So once again, here we go. Yes men. That's the scary thing, people. These are all yes men. These are people who aren't going to do the bidding of us. Hold on, let me see. I got to get this to someone real quick. My guest is trying to get into the app, and it looks like the app isn't. If I get him on, we can get him on for about 10. Let's see if he can come in now. Hold on, hold tight. Right, so I just sent him a link. But that's craziness. Craziness. And then, as you know, Musk had a falling out. Kill the bill is now the big thing for him. As he continues to blast the big beautiful bill, larger social media attacks. They had a moment of brotherly love today, of support, but still a lot of crap going on. We'll see what's going on. I got about. What's the I'm just trying to get my. And let me see. Just trying to get my guests in here with us before we close out the show. Have to. Before we get, let me, because at 9:30 we have 9:30 we have Turnbuckles and Spilt Liquor podcast with Ahmed Johnson. I can't wait. Tony Norris is his name, but it's Johnson. Here, cannot wait. Margaret says, definitely not the words I hear him speak now. Oh, hold on. Zoom may not. Oh. Sorry, I'm working with trying to get my guest in chat here. Here we go. Here we go. He's coming in. Let's get over here. What's up, man? Hold on. Let me bring you in because I'm actually live right now on the air. Let's bring my guy in here. Let's get this in. All right. Brought him in. He's here. He made it. We're going to go a little bit over tonight. We'll get this 10-minute interview in. But I got my man on the show, Johnny Hickey. We go, holy shit. We go so far back. We go way back before Oxymorons. We go back to when you was doing this Boston podcast show. I met you at John Doomsday Howard's birthday party.
Yep.
That was like I think that was the first event, and you were covering this event. I met you through Brian, photographer. I used to see you at a lot of the CFX events that I used to be ring announcer for. You used to come through and do interviews. So you've been doing this a long time, as long as I've been doing podcasting. And, you know, this is a guy who's got some movies, some awards under his belt. For you guys who didn't know, we're going to get into it. We got this 10-minute interview with him. got this great trailer that I'm going to allow him to introduce and show us. But Johnny, man, introduce the people to who you are and what you're doing here.
Johnny Hickey, Charlestown, Massachusetts native. Crazy adolescence, a wild story. You can find it places, obviously, would go well over 10 minutes with that story. But I've, developed myself into an award-winning filmmaker, thank God. And, I've created this niche where I make crime dramas and psychological horror films based around the collateral damage of, drug addiction, mainly opiate abuse. Oxymoron's my first film about my chapter in the Oxycontin epidemic. My second feature film was Habitual, a psychological horror film that was filmed in all the abandoned lunatic asylums in Massachusetts. So if you got more of a horror vibe, you'll dig that one. And then I just released Methadone Mile with Justina Valentine's, a short film. We just won a slew of festivals across the country with that. And then the new film, Pressed, is coming out probably in the fall, we'll see, which is another feature film about the press pill epidemic.
Wow, crazy stuff. And one of the things that I've talked about, and I'm kind of glad we're kind of out of that point where it was every week. This epidemic was fucking every week. Everybody who knows me, Johnny knows me, my ex-wife, her niece, Jocelyn, she lost both her parents in a span of 2 months. And it was big major news here in Boston. Everybody came out. I remember you came out and showed some support for her. It was just a tragic story where people just lost generations. And we could go on. We could do a whole show about this epidemic. Sometimes I feel like if it wasn't for COVID, and I put my tin hat on, I feel like if it wasn't for COVID, Big Pharma would have been bankrupt because they have to pay out all these lawsuits. We just saw Walgreens is closing because Walgreens has to pay out $450 billion to people who died during this opiate epidemic. Big Pharma knew all about this. They had people showing up to hospitals, show me the pain level you're at, and then they just sent you on your way with tons and tons of pills and created this epidemic and got rich off the blood of families. It's just crazy. Like I said, we can really
my tin hat's always on for this. I mean, if you don't think that was the, I don't want to say the beginning phase, because there could have been a lot of other stuff going on before that would just kind of finding out, just like our food and stuff like that. Obviously, big tobacco buying up all the, the major food corporations that we've been feeding our children and ourselves all these years before, OxyContin and stuff, all things that lean you into addictive behaviors. And then, they just released this pill onto the street that the FDA approves to be a non-addictive painkiller, and it's heroin in a pill. And then fast forward real quick, you got a nationwide, heroin epidemic. And then fast forward through that, we have a nationwide fentanyl epidemic. I mean, even heroin's obsolete now, and fentanyl is just poison. It's not even the people dying from fentanyl. They're not even overdosing. They're like just literally being poisoned. It's the number one killer between 18 and 45-year-olds throughout the country. 300 people a day die. If a JetBlue plane crashed every day, it would be on the news every day, and those flights wouldn't be taken off until those planes were fixed and they weren't crashing with 300 people in them no more. But because it's a silent killer on the streets, it's a revolving door for the pharmaceutical companies and all their new harm reduction drugs that they push out there, like Suboxone and methadone and whatever. It's sad in the world we live in, and you have everybody out there protesting and doing all this crazy shit for these other, things, whatever, community concerns, whatever you want to call them. And meanwhile, there's just stuff on the street that they're just poisoning us with and killing people with every day. 300 people dead kids, young kids, you know what I mean? Like little kids eating a pill that they don't know what it is, and their parents left out because they were getting high and they're dead. Or, a young kid buying an Adderall to try to get through a test. Not to say he should be buying an Adderall, but he has no clue that he's buying a pressed pill that's pressed with fentanyl, dead. I mean, they're even starting to lace the weed with it now, which is crazy. So
yeah, I heard that. That is insane. That's just insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theory type stuff, tied to it. Obviously, I could go down the rabbit hole with you. We could create a whole podcast on that. Never mind a show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And
So let me get with you on this, because you know this movie that you just released with Justina Valentine, Methadone Mile. I felt like when I heard you talking about this and this movie was going to be made, I felt like, damn, I wonder how many people came to him and was like, don't make a fucking movie, because we don't want a movie made about this, because it's a huge black eye for the city of Boston and the state of Massachusetts. But for me, I'm like, go ahead, Johnny, fucking go get this shit. I was like, go get this shit. You put it out there, because I drive through that area. One of my garages that I work for, Paul Revere Transportation, is located right there in the heart of Methadone Mile in the back. We've had people stabbed and killed. We've had people OD and die just right outside our bus garage. It's an issue that a lot of people really didn't want to fucking talk about. It was like the black sheep of Boston. And I was so glad that you decided to take this and bring something to it, because I've gone to work on 93 and they've had people wander high onto 93 and get hit right there in South Bay, killed, run over. You know, this is real shit. This is real shit. So, did anybody come to you and say, "Hey, man, I don't think you should make this movie"?
I mean, you always have the haters, and then I don't pay attention to none of that. When I'm in my lane, I'm laser focused. I'm moving forward. No matter what. I got children of my own. I got kids that I don't want them to grow up. When I was growing up as a kid, I used to get bussed over to the J.J. Hurley, which is right across the street from there on the other side of BMC. And, see, I got my little one right here with me.
Yeah.
And
what's up?
He's been doing my show with me. I'm doing a show. He's in the studio. Yeah. Yeah. JD, we got a few. Sorry. And
no problem. I love it.
And so, for her and for the future generations, it's like when I was a kid, I would drive over there on the bus and they, Jimber, grab her, please. Grab some oranges. And, when I was a kid, her age, even, a little bit older, elementary school, I'd be bussed over there. That didn't exist over there. And now, these kids have to walk through there from school, drive through there on their school buses and see that. And it's like, even as a society, like, why do we allow that to happen? Like, if there's a group of kids right now, like high school kids drinking in a playground, the cops are going to go arrest them for open containers, drinking in public, whatever. But yet we can create an area in these cities, and it's not just Boston, it's all over the country, where people can just go and get high and shoot up drugs and die and OD and do all this stuff. So it's kind of wild that's where we are today, even after the OxyContin epidemic and everything, that we're in a position where, it's worse, not better. And if we don't put it out there, and if I listen to the people saying, "Oh, you shouldn't talk about this," then it's a lose for everybody, because we need to talk about this and we need to stop this, because where does it stop? Does it stop on Methadone Mile, or does it keep growing? Which it is growing. It's moving into all these other communities, all these other parks in Everett, and even in like Wakefield. I was in Wakefield one day, which was like kind of like a suburb, town north of Boston, whatever. And I was cutting through the commuter rail there to go to the 7-Eleven, and there were people sleeping on the benches. And I'm like, this didn't exist before. Never mind in Boston and in Massachusetts and all that. There was always Methadone Mile where people went in the morning to get their methadone. We knew that, but there was never like an encampment where people just were allowed to live and breed that stuff. And if you allow that to happen, it's just going to grow. It's not going to solve the problem. There's no way that solves the problem. Clearly, we're in no better shape today than we were before they started. We're in a worse position than when they started allowing that and doing that stuff.
When I realized that area was a bad area, to be honest, it was funny. It was one night I was at an event. I had the DJ an event, and I said, what, I'm hungry. I didn't get to eat, like a usual DJ. And I said, let me swing through the McDonald's. And I pulled in the McDonald's because that McDonald's there was open 24 hours. And as I pulled up and I gave my order, a chick come up to my car, knocked on the window, and she propositioned me right there. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, is it that bad here that you have time that somebody is going to take sexual favors from a prostitute before they pick up their... I said, this is insane. And then
Mhm.
shortly after, people got killed. And I was one of these people that said, when the first person got stabbed in the throat down there, I said, oh, that's it. They're going to clean this up. And it didn't. It went on for
Nope.
fucking. Oops, excuse my language. You got a
No,
kid.
she's gone. No, she's in the
Okay.
other room now. No, she's
But
in the
I
other
was
room.
like, I thought they would clean it up, and they didn't. It went on for years after that person got stabbed in the throat.
Mhm.
And it just, like you said, it is something that we needed
Yeah.
to put our eyes on.
No, they'll do like a little political push when it's like, run time or whatever, and they'll be like, "Oh, we're gonna clean that Methadone Mile. It's one of our top priorities," and they'll go down. All of a sudden, they'll shake everybody down and they'll move the tents off, and 2 days later, it's just back. You know what I mean? They get their photo up, and then it's just back again.
Yeah.
And they always lean in towards winter, obviously, when it's like easier to get people off the streets. And then once this nice weather comes, like right now, it just starts to infest. But it is spreading.
Right.
It's spreading out to other, even like Davis Square, Somerville I was at, and it was just like people there, like shooting up in the bus stop. And it's just like, how are we in a world today where that is allowed? Like that we're not helping anybody by allowing them to just shoot up in the street, get Narcaned, wake back up, do it all over again. It's just, and population control, dumb down the population. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And, we as a society and stuff, we need to, it's got to be the most bipartisan thing that I could think of. We need to come together on these kind of matters and these topics and be protesting this stuff outside the state house and outside the federal buildings and the pharmaceutical companies. And even these, a lot of these rehabilitation centers now that they're not real no more. They're not really there for recovery. These recovery centers, they're bought and paid for by the insurance companies. They have to offer harm reduction drugs, which is just a revolving door. So nobody in these programs are actually like clean and off of substances completely. They're just allowed to do pharmaceutical versions of that, like Suboxone, you know what I mean, and gabapentin and Xanax. It's like, how is that recovery? It's not.
Right. They're making money off it.
Yep,
and it's funny when I saw insurance companies paying for transportation to go get your meth in the morning. I'm like, oh, here we go. This is not going to help anybody. I got to give a big shout out though before we get into this talk about this movie, Moms on the Mile. I had a woman on this show that's involved with Moms on the Mile. Moms on the Mile is an organization. If you have someone that's in your family that suffers from drug addiction, what they do is they put themselves in harm's way. They go down there. They look for people who might be missing and are down there. Moms on the Mile, they go down there. They provide food. They provide socks and things of that sort. So I want to give Moms on the Mile, Beverly Radinsky, and all those people involved with that, I got to give you guys a shout because not many people are going down there and doing what they're doing and putting themselves in harm's way because it's a scary, shitty area. It is. It is. And to put yourself down there, it's not a place to be.
No, it's definitely not a place to be. I've known some people that have gone down. I went down there and filmed down there. I'm a city kid, obviously, and I had some of my people with me and stuff. So it was very easy for me to walk about and shoot down there. But I know other people that have gone down there to try to do like some documentary stuff and like had like GoPros on them, and they got like held in tents and held hostage and got their pockets ran and things like that. So it's definitely not a place that you want to be. So I tip my hat to anyone, especially women, moms that will go down there and try to, help people, find people and get them out of there. It's really sad. It's really blight, what it's become. And then, you step out of the mile into like the new subject matter of my new film about the pressed pills. And that's just like a whole nother level. It's like we have people out there just pressing poisonous pills and poisoning the community with these, and it's just everywhere. It's just everywhere. And it's wiping people out. And it's above and beyond the numbers that we were seeing with OxyContin and heroin when we first started talking about this and making this a group discussion. So, it's bad, and it's only getting worse. It's not getting better. And like you said, you were talking about the money earlier and stuff like that. You get all these municipalities that they're all sitting on this money right now, this Purdue money, they're sitting on a lot of them have the money, and they're just sitting on it. They'll say they don't know what to do with it, but like they need to figure out what to do with it.
They,
You know,
they have to,
that's
because
the
like
thing.
I said, Walgreens was 450 billion. Rite Aid was like 300 and something. Walmart is going to settle. They're paying. So, and they got to pay to all 50 states. People, you don't get this lawsuit. This lawsuit was taken by 50 states. So these big amounts have to be broken up within, and like he's saying, it's so much money that they don't even know how to disperse it. They're just sitting on it, and that money is collecting. Felicia's in the chat. Felicia says, I agree. She's going to a city council meeting soon because there's so many needles and drugs in the bathroom at the Brockton. That's the public libraries has been a big complaint. Dunkin' Donuts, first and foremost. I remember working the overnight shift in Chelsea, and they had to start locking the bathroom in Dunkin' Donuts at night because they had an OD who crashed and died in the bathroom at Dunkin'. And Dunkin's like, we got to lock our bathrooms at night now because we're having this happen. I have somebody
I'm seeing
in
the
chat.
public.
Yep,
I'm seeing
go
the public library thing. I'm seeing that a lot. I'm seeing them congregate outside the public libraries. I'm seeing them in that is another thing that's going on, you know? And it's like, we have to just step up as a community and like stop it. Like, we have to put our foot down and be like, this isn't okay. You know, you have people leaving needles now in kids' playgrounds with children play and stuff. That's not all right. You know what I mean? There has to come to a point where it's like, we can't cater to people killing themselves and getting high. Like, we can't cater to that. Help them, offer them help, yes, but we also can't just allow it to happen, because that just destroys everything around us and erodes everything.
I'm on here with Johnny Hickey. What we're going to do, we're going to get into the discussion about this movie, but I want you to tell us about this trailer we're about to see for the film featuring Justina Valentine. We're going to roll it.
Yes, the trailer is a short, just like a 2-minute cut of the short film itself, which is about 25, 30 minutes long. Justina Valentine plays the lead in it. It's about she plays one of the drivers, as you mentioned. She plays a driver that drives addicts around to pick up their methadone, and she's constantly in the battle of relapsing herself because she's a former addict. And then it involves her dysfunctional family that are also tied to the mile in their own way. Her father, played by Lenny Clark, her brother, played by myself. Jimmy LeBlanc, another Boston actor's in it. So yeah, it's got a good little cast. Justina really packs a punch playing this role. She kills it. I'm
hearing a lot about her. A lot of people who've seen this movie early on, they're really talking about Justina. If you don't know who Justina is, she's on Wildin' Out. She's the white rapper, female with the red hair, Justina Valentine. And I was following her. Yeah, I was following her on Instagram, and she was working real hard on the Boston accent. It was funny watching her get this accent ready before you started shooting. So it's funny to see that. So what we're going to do, we're going to show this trailer real quick, and I've already got people questioning about the movie. So here's the trailer, Methadone Mile, right here on the booth. Here you go.
What are they going to do? I mean, I told you before, I drive my kids down there to show them what can happen. Why did you do that?
Yeah, you get caught at a light down there, forget about it. It's like Dawn of the Dead.
They're just resigned to it. It's like, this is the way I'm going to live.
I'm Missy Sullivan. I work here in Boston's Methadone Mile as a driver for addicts who need rides to dose.
This is actually right here where I used to shoot up.
Me too. I heard your brother's getting out.
Yeah, that won't last.
When you have a kid, you go hard. Kinda sucks.
I know a lot of you hold judgment. But if this were a choice, who in God's name would choose this?
Gritty, so if I tried to Hollywood that and had the Hollywood budget to create a Methadone Mile, it wouldn't feel the same,
Yeah. So we're back
work.
here. That was the trailer, and you guys just joined us mid-conversation, because what it was, I was just saying to Johnny is that, it's crazy that, most people come in, they bring Hollywood type in, and they build these sets. And I says, the crazy thing is he's down there with the authentic shit that's going on, and like he was just saying, you just can't recreate that. You just can't. You gotta let people see it for what it was, and it's great. So I've got people in here already talking about the trailer, are already asking. I have Margaret. She's asking, where can she see this movie?
Okay, so we just screened at the Real Recovery Film Festival up in Maine recently. I did a screening at IMAX. So right now, where the movie sits is it's a 25-minute short. We're in the process of the edit of. We have like basically a documentary of the behind the scenes making this film, because the behind the scenes of like us making the movie, going down to Philadelphia, winning best short film in the Philadelphia International Film Festival. And visiting Kensington to show like Philly's version of Methadone Mile, which is like Methadone Mile on steroids, honestly.
Oh shit!
So we have a whole documentary piece that we're attaching to the scripted version of the trailer that you just seen, and we'll be releasing that in the next 30 to 60 days. That will be going out on streaming platforms: Tubi, Amazon, Apple TV.
Oh,
so
shit.
Just like buckle up and get ready to be able to stream it. Yeah, because you'll be able to stream it. We've done all of our screenings. I might do another pop-up one just because a lot of people are asking again that want to see it. And it played at the Boston International Film Festival. It played at the IMAX in Reading. So we did a few Boston screenings, and then we toured the country with it: Burbank, Oklahoma, Montreal. So we were all over with it, with Philly. And I'm thinking maybe, towards the end of the summer, or midsummer, I'll do one more like pop-up screening for the Boston people. So just follow me on my social media on Instagram, the Johnny Hickey, and just keep an eye out. And then I'll also be announcing like, will you be able to actually stream it, so you don't have to wait for it to screen in a theater or anything like that. You'll actually be able to just stream it right at home.
Nice, nice. So we'll definitely keep an eye out. I want to really thank you for coming on the show. This is great stuff. Everybody's
Absolutely.
in the chat thanking you. We're going to definitely keep in touch with you. It's great stuff. I mean, this film is going to be, I think it's going to go above and beyond what people are expecting it to be. If you guys haven't checked out any of his previous film, Oxymorons 2010, check it out. I got a guy, Matty C Sports. He swears by that movie, people. You got to check that out. That's out there. That's available. Habitual 2019. Is that on any streaming sites, Habitual?
Yeah. Habitual's on Tubi, Amazon Prime, Apple, all the same places Oxy, pretty much. You can find Habitual. A lot of people just don't know about Habitual because, so we had a 400 screen release for that. So it was going to be in 400 theaters across the country. When you got out of Logan Airport and you were coming up 1A, there were digital billboards with it. It had a massive release for Habitual. Habitual is a psychological horror film about fentanyl and ravers and all these abandoned lunatic asylums. I filmed it in Massachusetts, the Tewksbury State Hospital, Westboro State Hospital. And what happened was literally the day that me and my co-star were getting ready to do a 10-city tour and a festival tour, COVID hit. It was the day that the airports I was on my way to Chicago. He was coming from Miami. I was coming from LA to Chicago. And it was the day that the airports got all locked up.
I work at Logan. I was up there, so I know exactly the day you're talking about.
So my cult fan base knows about Habitual, and they're all, if you're a fan of Oxymorons and you seen kind of the kind of those horror dream purgatory sequences I have in there a little bit, this movie's 90% of that stuff. So it's like a flip. It's more of the psychological aspects of like drug use and horror. It's kind of tied to it. And so that movie it missed a lot of people because of COVID. Obviously, it missed it. It lost its P&A budget, and it just kind of it went out into the streaming world, and it has had good results, and we won some awards. But a lot of people don't know about it. So. If you haven't seen that one, it's definitely one you want to check out. It's good. I'm really proud of that one. And that's the thinker. That one's a real, psychological. It's very layered. You can watch it as like just a horror movie, and then you can watch it as someone who kind of understands the world of drug use and addiction, and you can kind of see the subliminal messages that are laid within it. you could watch it probably 5 times and pick up something new each time. It's one of those films.
Nice. Now, before we let you out, I got to ask you a quick question. You're a filmmaker, award-winning filmmaker. You've made these movies. If somebody came to you and you had the chance to remake whatever movie, remake whatever big past movie, said, hey, we're going to let you have the rights to redo this movie, what would you take on for a remake?
I would take on They Live.
Ooh, John Carpenter. Oh,
I would take on They Live. That movie was ahead of its time. Let's just say, picture that movie today.
Yes.
So
I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
I'm all out of bubble gum. That street fight with him and who was it? Louis Gossett Jr. Is that who it was?
Yes. Yeah.
When they're fighting outside, they was trying to get him to put on the damn sunglasses. But that whole concept, and They Live, and the mind control, and the Shepard Fairey Obey, like, artwork that was tied to that movie was like so creatively tied in. All the like consume, all the stuff that, like, if you think about it today, how we talk about like lizard people and that kind of stuff, and like it would really, again, that movie was ahead of its time, way ahead of its time, way ahead of its time. And it was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid, like an action wild movie. Roddy Piper, God rest his soul. And that's one that I would remake for sure. And then number 2 would be Clockwork Orange, and number 3 would be The Warriors.
Look, The Warriors is one of my faves. Their anniversary, they just had their big anniversary about three months ago. They had another anniversary, and the living cast members, they take that ride to Coney Island on the train every time they have this anniversary, and I'd love to get out there and see that. I believe we just lost Cochise. I think the actor who played Cochise, passed away. But that was another great 70s film that was, again, what's funny about that, I remember sneaking in and seeing The Warriors because it was banned everywhere. And everybody banned that movie. You couldn't see it anywhere. And now The Warriors is a movie you can show on TV virtually uncut.
Virtually uncut, yeah. Yeah, we've definitely evolved in the world of restriction of cinema in movies, for sure. I mean, I don't even think like ratings matter anymore, as far as like streaming goes. There's no, you know what I mean? You look at these shows like Shameless and Euphoria and stuff. There's no, I mean, those things are NC-17 to the fullest. So
Right.
I feel like that whole MPAA rating thing is just kind of falling off,
Yeah. So I got once again, I got something in the chat before we let you get out of here.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm here, man. I'm here. Whatever.
One person is asking, where can I watch his films? I'll let you go through that again, where they can catch your films.
So my 2 feature films that are currently released, Oxymorons and Habitual, you can find on Amazon Prime, Tubi, Apple TV. If you got a Roku device, just put in Oxymorons or put in Habitual, and it will pop up all the different places you can watch it. It's also on like Vudu and Plex and other streaming sites, but the most common streaming sites you can see it on are Amazon Prime, Tubi, and Apple TV. So those are the 3 that like most people have, access to or are familiar with, but also Vudu, Fandango, and Plex. And then I also directed a horror series, 3 episodes of a horror series called Dark as the Night for Scare Network.
Ooh.
So if you're into horror this isn't a series that I wrote or anything. This is just something that I was brought in to direct. It's called Dark as the Night. It's a found footage horror series on Scare Network, which is a horror streaming site. So you can see some of my stuff there. But as far as what I've done as a writer-director, Oxymorons, Habitual, again, Amazon Prime, Tubi, Apple TV, Methadone Mile will be streaming, I would say in the next 30 to 60 days, it will be available.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for it.
Yep, keep an eye out for it. I'll be posting it once it goes. Me and Justina we've been working on the trimming down. But what's crazy is the behind the scenes and the making of it is just as entertaining in its own way, in a different way than the short film itself.
I'm sure.
And we have so much of that we've just been trying to trim it down, and there's so much like good stuff we have to let go of. So we're thinking about just like, cutting a small piece to attach to this, and then we're just going to continuously, me and Justina continuously work together. Again, she stars in my new film too, the one about pressed pills, which is kind of a spin-off from Methadone Mile in a way.
Right.
And we're going to continue to like make films together and kind of shoot these behind the scenes of like how we make these movies for people to kind of see how an independent movie's made, and the things we go through, and how we are able to pull off some stuff that Hollywood studios either have to spend a real lot of money to pull off or can't even pull off. So that mixed with like the characters of like the real characters playing the characters, me, Justina, and all these different walks of life that come together to make these movies is its own kind of entertainment. So we'll see where that all goes moving forward for sure.
Cool. Hey, I gotta thank you. Let's get ready to hang tight. We're gonna get ready to get out of here. Let me get through my my outro banners for events that we have coming up here. These are the hats, the beanies. I gotta thank everybody who supports the show and supported and bought all the beanies, the Sinister One production beanies. So thank you. Also, all the shows I produce, Drafting the Circuits on Wednesday nights, Maddie C Sports on Sundays, Turnbuckles and Spilt Liquor. We're coming up at 9:30 tonight. We've got Ahmed Johnson on the show tonight from the WWE, retired. He's coming on. You Are the Star Karaoke. I do that every first Friday at Brockton Beer Company, except for this month. This month is going to be later. Make sure to visit Brockton Beer Company. Open for lunch and dinner. Kids eat free Monday through Wednesday. And then the Brockton Police Cadet Program. If you're 18 to 22, you can sign up for the Brockton Cadet Police Program. Also, Emerge Career. If you've been in jail and your cases are all cleared up, reach out to Emerge Career. They're helping you get a job with a CDL license up to $75K a year. Guys, this is a way you can get people, anybody incarcerated, this is how you can get your life jumpstart. Lionel Boogs Young, a friend of mine, he's been on the show. You see him training Jalen Brown. He has a program here on Saturdays for free for the youth. Please get your kid down there. Brockton High is doing an instrument drive on June 9th and June 11th. If you have any instruments that you want to donate to the music department, please head on down there on those 2 dates. And then my artist, Vianna Marie, she's performing June 14th at the Brockton Fairgrounds for the June celebration. Free event, 12 to 6. And then Free Warrior Yoga. If you're any type of first responder, yoga is one of these things that can help you with PTSD. Warrior Within Yoga Project takes place every other Wednesday night. And don't forget, the bat buses are free till June 30th. And then Run to Home Base is taking place at Fenway Park on July 26th. It's a 5K run, 9K walk. And then, hey, the mini mechanic program. If you have a little kid that wants to learn how to become a mechanic, register now. Mini mechanic summer program for 6 weeks. And then Laverne Gordon, you saw on the show, domestic violence awareness. August 7th is the Pro-Am race. That's going to be taking place at F1 Supercharged out there in Rentham. And then Broken Chains Biker Church is having a raffle for a 2005 Iron Horse Outlaw, $20 per ticket. Buy 5, get the 6th one. That's coming up. And then Black Business Month at the following restaurants: Tambu Bistro, August 10th. August 17th, Sunrise Steakhouse. Show your support for Brockton Beer on August 24th. Salo Bar and Grill on August 31st. And then the Brockton Youth Family Day, Sunday, August 31st, the middle school. And then, guys, we lost a firefighter here, Stephen Montero. Golf tournament takes place on September 15th. Make sure to reach out to Stephen Pina for that one there. And then Brockton's Farmer Market. Hey, guys need fruits, vegetables, cheap money. It's tough, but you need to stretch that dollar. Head down to the Brockton Farmers Market every Friday. And then these are banners for those who are running for office. They don't pay me to put these. They just submit them, and I place them so you know who they're voting for. Jose Rodriguez is running for mayor. Jamal Brathwaite is running for Councilor Ward 6. John Bradley Durancourt, he's running for mayor of Brockton. So get those to me. I don't want to hear anybody saying that they didn't know or didn't know who to vote for. It's there. Stop making excuses. Like my man said here, there's things we need to do in this state. You know, gotta let our voices be heard. So hey, 9:30 tonight. Tony Norris, Ahmed Johnson from the WWE. He's going to be on Turnbuckles and Spilt Liquor with us tonight. Going to be talking about WWE wrestling. Ahmed Johnson was the first black intercontinental wrestler champion. So he's coming on. He's going to be talking with us on the show. So make sure to tune in. My guy Johnny Hickey is here. Once again, let him know which social media to follow, man, and check you out.
Yes, Instagram's really where I'm most dominant. So the Johnny Hickey on Instagram. Again, my films, Oxymorons, Habitual on Amazon Prime, Tubi, Apple TV. They're on other streaming sites as well. Big shout out too, man. In the movie Habitual, I think he's a mutual friend of ours, Brockton Stoughton resident Dave Apotheca. We lost him to the fentanyl epidemic during the Bull. Yeah, we lost him in the fentanyl epidemic during COVID, and he got to play a role in Habitual before he passed. And I'm glad I got to do that for him. He was a good friend of mine, and you know, he had a lot of sobriety, and during COVID, he, like a lot of people, relapsed, and he's you know, gone now. So just, I know you're down there in the Brockton area and have roots there and stuff.
Yeah,
so I just
Brockton
want to give a shout out to Dave.
For those who don't know, Brockton is home to the Castle, which is a place where they, you know, they're always posting when they have beds available. People, if you know somebody that's looking for a bed or needs a bed available, you know, reach out. Moms on the Mile on their Facebook page. I know they post consistently when there's beds available. If you need help and you need to get to a bed, you need to get into a center. This is the place to, you know, places to look and just get in. Hope that's Johnny, man. I want to thank you for coming on the show. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here and close out the show?
No, man. Just thank you for having me. Keep the fight going. You know, together we stand, divided we fall. And that's it, man. And just thank you to everybody for supporting my work and what I do and believing in me and what I do, and like people like yourself. I'm super grateful. And just keep it rolling.
All right, good stuff. We're going to get out of here. Turnbuckles and Spilt Liquor at 9:30. I got to get ready to talk with Tony Norris and set him up so we can go live at 9:30. SpongeBob, do me a favor. Take us home.
See you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to The Booth on Hoobazoo and HatcherRadio.com. Please follow the Facebook page and subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. The Booth is a Sinister One production hosted by Sinister One.
I've got to start hanging out with friends that are a little more intelligent and understand politics and stuff. It's just that I'm up on this level up here, and all my friends are down here. Me, nah. You guys, nah. Maybe a little more down in here. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I smoke, I drink, I do my thing. These bitches hating, so you know I got to make it plain. Don't do cocaine with your chick, my main. We stick together, true forever, yeah, you know we bang. I miss those days, which was easy. If only I make it, keep this shit on repeat. Now that I done upgraded, I've been upstate, and y'all think I'm playing. And I got a hit now for these weak ass hoes who think I ain't slaying. Try me, and I'll probably end up laughing, cause I never back down. I'm that chick with a clean ass whip, I don't need that shit, it's like I'm my own now. I get hurt, I get tired of fussing, fighting, guess I gotta crack down. Don't mess with me, cause on everything, I'ma have to bring the whole city out.
WHOOBAZOO, that's Hoobazoo.com.
Enter website.